What's up, profit seekers, and welcome back to the channel. Now, Pivotal Profit is a channel dedicated to small business owners and people that are looking to develop their own side hustles within business through one, me providing you informational advice, and two, tracking my journey about how I'm going about my business and see if there's any lessons that you can learn through it. So I'm trying to split this channel into like two segments. One's going to be sort of vlogging, which is like covering my business and the journey and the way that things are going for me. And then the second part of the channel is going to be me providing hints and tips as to things that you could probably think about to use for your business. So this one is kind of going to be a mashup of the two. Today I'm going to be talking about outsourcing and employing people and when it's the right time to do so. But also I'm going to be throwing in examples of things that I've put in place. Like, a lot has happened in this last week that I want to update you with, and some things that I'm putting in place. So I'm going to try and tie my advice about when to employ people and when to outsource in with some of the things that I'm actively doing. And then I'm probably going to show you the progress of these other things that I'm doing as we progress through the year. Roll intro. I think that intro needs a little bit of work and can try and probably make it a little bit more sassy in the future, but it will do for now. Okay, so outsourcing. In my opinion, there's 3 times when you should look to outsource or employ people or bring on help within your business. And number 1 is when you can't do what they can. So, for example, I have employed my mother to be a bookkeeper. I cannot bookkeep, I don't know how to do it. And I've also outsourced my accounting to an accountant, naturally. Now, the reasons I do that is because an accountant can go ahead and can look at the way my business is being run. They can put things in certain buckets. They can change the timings of certain things to make my business run a little bit more tax efficient. And when my business is run more tax efficient, in theory, when you employ an accountant, the tax savings that the accountant makes for you should be more than you're actually paying them to do the services that they do. So in theory, an accountant should pay for themselves. Another example could be for, say, if you're running a small business, you're running a coffee shop, for example. You're very good at coffees, making coffees, you're very good at making food, but you're just trying to get more footfall in the door for your business. In that scenario, it might be more useful to outsource your marketing materials and promotional strategy to bring in the footfall, so you can focus on creating a better product for the customer for when they're in, improving the coffee shop itself, maybe changing the menu, maybe bringing in promotions. But it might be more beneficial to pay somebody else to go ahead and go out and promote and push, because that might not be your area of expertise. You may be very, very good at making coffees, you may be very, very good at making cakes, you might be very good at making snacks. The food might be absolutely impeccable, the customer service might be amazing, but that business, you might not know how to do the accounting, or you might not know how to effectively target the customers that you're looking to bring in. So in that kind of scenario, it makes sense for you to outsource. So you can either outsource or you can employ somebody within your business to go and do those things for you. In many ways, outsourcing is probably better than it is to bring in an employee, because an employee comes with a lot of paperwork. You have to set up payroll, you have to deal with pensions. And lastly, if that person is very bad, it isn't good at doing what they're doing, it's an absolute nightmare to get rid of people that aren't performing, unless you provide a lot of stipulations within your paperwork, etc., in order to let them go. But that's my scenario 1. So I think if you can't do something as effectively as someone else might be able to, you should get someone else to do it. Okay, so scenario number 2. If you don't have time, so naturally if you don't have time to do these particular things, then that is something you will need to bring someone on for. So let's take the coffee shop example. You can't effectively go and change all the menus, like readjust all of the building, go in, unlock, serve all your customers. If you've got a cafe full, then you're going to need 2 people in the building, or 3 people, or 4 people. And as the business grows, you're going to need to leverage other people's time within your business. So if you haven't got time to do it, then it's probably best to start thinking, do I need to bring in staff, or do I need to outsource some of the areas that I don't really add value? So that brings us on nicely to point number 3. And point number 3 is bring people on to take the tasks off you where you're not adding value into your business. So to take my business as an example, my business is entirely focused around buying and selling product. And the money is made at the point I buy the product. So that is the bit where I add the most maximum value into my business. The times where I don't add too much value is when I get these products and then I go and I quality control them. And then I have to label them with the necessary labels, and I have to ship them off into Amazon's warehouse. Take it the eBay side of the business. I have to get these products home. Once again, I have to quality control them. I have to list them on eBay, and when they sell, I would need to post them. Those areas there, in this hand, are areas where I don't necessarily add value to the business, whereas the buying is the bit that is the engine room. So if I don't do that, if I could do more of that, the business will be more profitable, and if I could do less of that, the business will be less profitable. So that's my third example. If your time is more valuable elsewhere, think about bringing people in for the low value tasks, the things that aren't adding to the growth, to the trajectory, to the way that the business is moving forwards. If it's not helping you grow, then you should probably think about it. It's the adage really to say that you need to work on your business, not in your business. Because for the first 2 years, I bought myself a job. But in my opinion, that is not creating a business with growth, with a trajectory. Because in theory, really, to call it a business rather than just a job or a self-employed income, I need to bring people in to replace me for the areas where I don't add value. Okay, so this week for my business has been an absolute, excuse the pun, but it has been a pivotal week for my business. There's lots of different pieces that I've been planning to sort of bring those low value things that I do down so I can focus more on the things that add value. And out of those things, 2 of those apply to this topic of conversation, which I'm going to tell you the stories for now. There's other things that are in the pipeline that are of a completely different business area, but they're all coming together as well. So it's been one of those really, really good weeks, but I am so stretched right now. I'm probably working from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. It is non-stop, work, 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 because I'm trying to get all these plates spinning. But once these things are in place and they're running and they're effective, and it's a case of just checking in, making sure these are good, and that's going to free up loads more of my time to be able to focus on the growth, which is really exciting for me. It's been a long time coming, a lot of these things, but everything's just coming into place. So I want to look back at this video possibly in maybe a couple of years' time, or maybe in like 30 years' time, to say, that was it. That was the moment where things changed. So I'm really excited for the day where I can look back, and that's part of the reason why I started this channel, is to sort of document the journey, so I'll come and look back in the future and give myself a pat on the back, or look back in the future and say that was hard, or that was a massive challenge, or could have changed that, or glad I overcome that in that way. So there's, you know, it's kind of self-indulgent, the channel, in a way, so I can sort of reflect on the things that I've done. But let's talk about the things that I've put in place over the past week, past 2-3 weeks, but everything's kind of come together last week, which is quite good. The first thing is I have brought on my friend from university to come and help me with the business. So me and Joe made a Q&A video, kind of like the one I did with Jimmy when I was up there. It was really good, it was really fun, and it was basically introducing you guys to Joe as the new member of the Pivotal business. And it was really exciting, and I was really happy to do the video. It was great fun, and we covered some really good stuff in it. But unfortunately, when we were recording it, the microphone wasn't set to audio on, so effectively it didn't record as good audio as I would have. Well, it didn't record any audio, so it was completely like unusable. But you know, here's a couple of shots of me and Joe. That was our chat, and I was just going through stuff, and yeah, it was really good fun. It's a shame because it was so good, and I was really excited to bring it to you. But I came to sit down and edit the video a couple of days ago, because I'm trying to release you a video every Wednesday. That's my aim. So I sat down to edit it on the weekend, and there was no volume, so really gutted. But you know, I'll introduce you, Joe, properly to the viewers, and I'll introduce you viewers to Joe properly in the near future, because I'm going to try and make a trip up north again. I'll probably try and do a monthly trip up north just to go and check in, go see Jimmy, help him out, go through some more questions that Jimmy's had and stuff that I can give and add value to you guys. So anyway, that video didn't work, but we'll get another one in the future. Now, he is based in Bradford, which is up in the north, so I did a little road trip last weekend, where I went round to, during the bank holiday, went up to Doncaster to see my friend, helped him, give him some hints and tips about starting his business, doing sort of Amazon FBA retail arbitrage, which is the bulk of where my business sits. So I've been helping him, and in turn we've gone out and gone and sourced his local area, because it's always nice to go and travel and source areas that I haven't been to before, because I tend to outfish the pond where I'm at. So if I go and source another area, there's products that I know are great that haven't been sourced yet. So I can go and source those, and me and him shared the profits, and I shared some of my knowledge, and we did some shipping from his house. That video can be found, which is my previous video, which is about Amazon FBA Q&A. So that's Jimmy. And then following that, then I went over to Bradford to see my other uni friend Joe. Now Joe is a good friend of mine. We've been friends for uni for many, many years. So we've known each other probably 10 years now. We tend to go abroad every year. Jimmy and James actually, we tend to go doing a broad trip every year. So Joe's the chap that got married, if you watched my reselling whilst travelling video. I really would like to have got more business in on that trip, but that wasn't the point of it. It was Joe's getting married. So yeah, very good friend of mine, known him for a long time, trust him implicitly. So me and Joe have come up with an idea that he is going to assist me in my business. So if I was to talk about the 3 points I talked about earlier, number one is when you can't do what they can. And I can't travel to Bradford every week to go and source products that I know are profitable, but I've outfished the pond where I am. So that comes into the bracket one. He can do something that I can't do. Now we're still working out the process and how we're going to get through this, but it's going to be a case of I'm going to build a list for him that's going to go over, he's going to go and source those, but he's also going to have a bit of free reign to go and do what he does himself. We're working on a margin model that will effectively empower him to go and do the same things that I am, so it's kind of like a profit share based on how much margin products make and how fast they sell, and he will get a kickback off the back of the profits based on using my framework and my network. So it's a really good opportunity for both of us. I'm really excited about that. So point number two is when you don't have time. Now I don't have time to drive to Bradford, and I don't have time to source as much stock as I would like to source. So bringing Joe in means we can ramp up the amount of volume that we can move through as a business, because this is a volume-based business. We try and go for the fast-moving products, churn them in, churn them out, and get as much as we can of the stuff that's really good. So when stuff is really good, I will travel as far as I deem necessary, which is only about an hour from where I am, sort of around. And other than that, it doesn't seem effective for me in terms of time to go and get them. So bringing in Joe is a real asset, and he's really helping me on a time basis there. And point number three is when you don't add value and your time is better spent elsewhere. Now I can spend a lot more time researching what is going to be the most profitable products, and once I've already put that time in, Joe can then go and do the doing. But then Joe is also going to add value as well, because he's going to try and surface new products to me that I hadn't considered about purchasing and stuff that I could look into. So the second thing that I'm getting going on the business, which is also really exciting, is I'm outsourcing a lot of this packing stage locally to me as well. So if you guys don't know, there's a couple of bits I can bring up here. So I have a warehouse, a partner. I've been working with them for 2 years probably. I sat down in the Chamber of Commerce next to the sales manager, Steve. Now Steve is a fantastic guy, and we've actually just kind of grown as friends as things have gone on. So we've had this really good business working relationship where we know what needs to be done, we're putting things in place, but also we just go out for dinner or a drink. So if you're watching Steve, come on my channel. Future video, baby, we'll get Steve on. But essentially, I sat down in the Chamber of Commerce next to Steve, and just kind of discussed what we do. So I said, I am an e-commerce business. I buy and sell product. And he sat there and looked at me and went, we're looking to get into fulfillment for e-commerce. Because a lot of what they do is sort of packing. They don't necessarily do shipping to the end customer, but there's a lot of prep work that they do for other companies and for, you know, automotive companies, etc. But he said, I'm looking to get into e-commerce fulfillment. So we said, great. So there and then we shook hands and said, let's go and build this. I'll help you develop the system in return for guinea pig rates for cheap shipping, etc. So that was summer last year. Went in, We developed the system, we invested a lot of time in it, I invested a lot of time in it, Steve invested a lot of time in it, but now we've got a process that works. And effectively what I've established now is an Amazon FBA, but for my eBay. So great, right? I don't need to do any of the picking or the shipping, and that's completely outsourced to Steve and his team at the warehouse. I'll introduce you them a bit more in the future, because this is something they will be looking to roll out to other people in the industry, whether it be medium-sized enterprises or small fry people like me. So more to come on that, but that is one aspect of where I've outsourced, and that in effect is freeing me up to do the more high value stuff, so taking the low value stuff off. I didn't really have time to go and be shipping these eBay products because my time was better spent elsewhere. And it's not really something that I can't do, but it's something that I would rather step away from. So that's something we've done. And then the new thing, which is very exciting, which kicked off last week as well. Last week was the first day of training, so to speak. But we are doing a similar project, but for Amazon. So on Amazon, I go and buy my products, I quality control them, label them, and then they get shipped to the Amazon warehouses. And once it's there, it's a case of you manage your pricing, you manage your customer communications and your returns, etc. But once it's there, it's there. It's very scalable. But the thing that was stopping me from scaling any further was that pre sort of packing, labeling, shipping stage. So I've employed my mum. She comes and does a lot of that for me, but I need her time more focused now on the bookkeeping and the finance side of things as things begin to grow. So the new project that's begun, which is very, very exciting, is that they will then prep and pack and ship my products into Amazon for me. It's effectively 2 days a week work, which was split between me and my mother, Pivotal Sue. I'll introduce you to her at another point in a future video as well. But effectively that frees up 2 days a week between us, which allows me to go and get more product. So as I said, the money is made in the buying. That is where I add value, is the stock control, is doing the analysis of what's working and what's not, doing the replenishment of stuff that is working, sourcing eBay products, sourcing bulk buy deals, and getting those listed on eBay. They're the areas where I add value, and they're the ones I want to focus on. Now, the listing products on eBay, to talk to the eBay resellers out there that are watching and listening in the room, as you can understand, there's two areas where you really don't add that much value in an eBay business. One is the listing of the products. So it takes a while to go and get that product and say, all right, this should be priced here, and go and doing that aspect of it, sort of the front loaded end. And then there's the back loaded end where the stuff is sold, and then you need to ship it out to your customers. Now, in my opinion, if you're looking to grow your business and develop it into something which is far more profitable than it is, than a one-man band or two-man band situation, you need to outsource that and outsource that. And there's two ways you can do it. You can either employ people, which has the pitfalls which I mentioned earlier, or you can outsource, which is the route that I've taken for the reasons I've described. It's a lot easier in payroll and pensions, and don't need to worry about that because I can outsource it. If stuff doesn't work, if the outsourcing doesn't work, I can just bring it back in with little repercussion, effectively. So my advice to you, if you're an eBay seller, would be to see if you can bring someone in to do the listing. I think probably the listing side would be best to employ somebody that you know and that you trust, because if you were to outsource it to another company, for example, then things might not be described properly, or your photos might not be up to your standards, and it's better to have one person there that you can check in on to say, you can analyse it and say, do a load of draft listings, I'll finish it. Or you can let them do the whole hog and you can go in and you can analyse to say, okay, well that photo could have been better, you can tweak this, you can redo that, this and that. So that area is probably somewhere where I'd probably be more inclined to employ somebody, which you can look into, but it's an area I feel that you probably would need somebody you trust doing. Whereas the shipping side of things, I feel like that is something you probably could outsource. Now, my warehouse will be rolling this out to the more wider community in the future, so I'll keep you updated as to any progress on that, but it could be a huge benefit for you and your business. So they're the two big things that have happened this week that I'm willing to reveal to you at this stage. There's a lot more exciting stuff that's coming in the future, but effectively freeing up those 2 days a week by getting the warehouse to do the Amazon prepping those 2 days a week can then be ploughed into one, growing the amount of products I buy and being more analytical and making better decisions on the products I buy and better managing the stock control. So there's that aspect. And the second aspect is it allows me to free more time up to look at the next business and look at the next thing I'm going after. So whilst this channel on my business currently is almost predominantly it's around the reselling, buying, selling products, e-commerce space, I'm looking to develop it into new areas, and those new areas could be something I'm very passionate about, something I'm more experienced in, but it involves me putting the right team together. So at the minute I'm trying to put the right team together and set up some processes, because at the end of the day all businesses is a set of processes that make you money. So yeah, really exciting week last week, lots of stuff coming into place, but it's kind of one of those things where everything has just come at one time. So I'm massively stressed and stretched at the minute, because like literally wake up, go to bed, start to finish is just trying to get everything running in a way that it needs to run. But once everything's in place and things are running effectively and there's processes and there's rhythms, then the business will just naturally grow, and it will free up time for me effectively to look at the new avenues and try and analyse and just try and make things a little more effective. So that's it, guys. They're my 2 exciting things that I'm going to share with you this week. I'll try to get another video out by Wednesday. I'll try and do a Wednesday upload every week if possible. But yeah, plenty to crack on with. So until then, keep hustling.